Some killers disappear after their crimes, but not Zodiac. He murdered people, then called the police to tell them, sent letters to newspapers mocking investigators. He left cryptic ciphers challenging the world to solve them. And for over 50 years, no one has figured out who he was. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer, a ghost, a legend, a game master of death, who still haunts America to this day. On December 20th, 1968, teenagers David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen went on their first date. They parked on a quiet lover's lane in Vallejo, California. Sometime that night, someone approached their car and opened fire. David was shot point blank in the head. Betty Lou tried to run. She was shot 5 times in the back. No witnesses, no suspects, just 2 bodies, a few shell casings, and silence. But this was only the beginning. On July 4th, 1969, exactly 6 months later, another couple, Darlene Farron and Michael Mago, were shot inside their car at Blue Rock Springs Park. A car approached, parked, and drove away, then came back 10 minutes later. The man stepped out, shined a flashlight on them, and pulled the trigger. Darlene was killed. Michael survived and described the shooter as a white male, 25 to 30 years old, with curly brown hair. Then, 45 minutes later, the police received a phone call. "I am the one who did it. I also killed those kids last year." This killer didn't hide. He wanted attention. And he was just getting started. On August 1st, 1969, 3 major newspapers received letters from the same unknown sender. Each letter included chilling details only the killer could know. But even more disturbing, each letter came with a piece of a 408-character cipher. The message demanded that the newspapers publish the ciphers or more people would die. 6 days later, a high school teacher and his wife cracked the code. The decoded message read, "I like killing people because it's so much fun. It's more fun than killing wild game in the forest. I am collecting slaves for the afterlife." There was no name, the killer said. We'd know his identity if we could crack the rest of his codes. On September 27th, 1969, college students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were relaxing by Lake Berryessa. A man approached, wearing a black executioner's hood, a symbol on his chest, and holding a gun. He said he was an escaped convict who needed their car. He tied them up, then pulled out a knife. Brian was stabbed 6 times, Cecilia 10. Then the attacker calmly walked to their car and wrote the date, time, weapon used, and his symbol on the car door. Cecilia died 2 days. Later, Brian survived and described Zodiac's bizarre outfit and calm, robotic behavior. On October 11th, 1969, Zodiac struck in broad daylight. Paul Stein, the 29-year-old cab driver, picked up a man in downtown San Francisco. The passenger asked to be taken to Washington and Maple Streets. But when the cab stopped early on Cherry Street, Zodiac pulled a gun and shot him in the head. Then he took Paul's wallet, keys, and ripped off a piece of his bloody shirt. A nearby teenager witnessed the entire scene and called the police. 2 patrol officers even passed Zodiac just minutes after the killing but let him go. Why? Because dispatch had mistakenly described the suspect as black. 3 days later, San Francisco Chronicle received another letter with the bloody shirt fragment enclosed. Zodiac bragged, "I walked past the cops. They never even stopped me." He then threatened to shoot out the tires of a school, bus and pick off the kids as they ran. San Francisco was officially terrified. On November 8th, 1969, Zodiac sent a new cipher to 340 symbols, far more complex than the first. For 51 years, no one could solve it. Not the FBI, not NSA, not the world's best cryptographers. Until December 2020. A team of 3 codebreakers from the US, Australia, and Belgium cracked it using pattern analysis and modern software. Here's what it said. "I hope you are having lots of fun trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. I have enough slaves to work for me already." Zodiac believed that his victims were his slaves in the afterlife. He wasn't just a killer, He saw himself as some kind of death cult leader. Zodiac claimed he killed 37 people, but only 5 were officially confirmed. Several other cases may be linked. A 1963 beachside double murder, the 1966 killing of college student Sherry Jo Bates, the 1970 disappearance of Donna Lass in Nevada, the attempted abduction of Kathleen Johns, who escaped after a terrifying highway encounter, the top suspect. Arthur Lee Allen. He lived near Vallejo, owned a Zodiac brand watch, had violent tendencies. But DNA, fingerprints, and handwriting evidence were inconclusive. No charges were ever filed. FBI investigated over 2,500 suspects. No one was ever arrested. In 1974, Zodiac sent his last confirmed letter. He called The Exorcist the funniest movie I've ever seen. Then, total silence. For over 50 years, there were no more verified attacks, no more letters, no arrests, no real answers. Is he dead? Was Zodiac one man, or something bigger? He left behind his taunting ciphers, terrifying letters, and a body count that may never be truly known. He was never caught, never identified. But he never really disappeared, because every time a new letter surfaces or a code is cracked, Zodiac lives again. So, who was Zodiac? A lone genius? A madman? A government experiment gone rogue? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you want a part 2 where we dive deep into suspects, conspiracies, and still unsolved letters, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because the Zodiac's game might not be over yet.